Baby Driver. Not impractical, first of all.
Can't even see over the dash.
Come on, baby.
BS.
Where do I start with this? It's a bad idea.
His seat is obviously rear facing. Because he doesn't weigh over 45 pounds.
That's part of why he's such a prodigy. No one understands it. He's a savant. He doesn't even look for it. Although there is that part in the movie where he drives backwards.
Hi, everybody in podcast land and also on YouTube. You voted, we listened, even though I didn't want to watch this movie again.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
And I think I was with you after seeing it.
See, I was right. Okay, my problem is I watched this like 8 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
And spoiler alert, I didn't really love it then. So I wasn't like gung-ho.
Oh, dang.
Even though, as Riley likes to remind me, I did watch Blade Runner 2049 like 3 times in one weekend once. I can do that if I like the movie a lot.
That's just insane to me.
We put it on the poll because we wanted to get like the broadest Edgar Wright coverage possible. I had no idea this was going to win. I was for sure thought Shaun of the Dead or Scott Pilgrim would crush.
So wait, none of us were happy about having to watch this movie?
I thought it was going to get second. I thought for sure Shaun of the Dead was going to crush.
Yeah. But it did it.
Or Scott Pilgrim.
And here we are.
And the thing that's interesting about the choices on that poll is Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim are both like Edgar Wright movies, just Edgar Wright. And those other two, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, are the Edgar Wright plus Simon Pegg plus, what's the other guy's name?
No, it's
Nick
just those
Frost.
two wrote it, though. Nick Frost didn't help Wright.
Oh, okay.
Nick Frost always sounds like a comic book character name to me. That's a real person?
I'm sure That's also Frost is the villain in Blade.
You got Blade on the mind.
Yeah.
Discount DiCaprio, but evil.
Wait, I
Yeah.
haven't actually seen Blade. That's the name of the villain?
Yeah, something
Nick Frost?
No, something Frost.
Oh,
I can't remember,
okay.
like Jason Frost or
We'll get to Blade one day, but for now, it's Baby Driver.
It's Baby Driver, baby.
You babies. B-A-Y-B.
B-A-B-Y, baby.
B-A-B-Y, baby.
David, what are you giving this movie out of 10? Give me your slogan.
Baby Driver has all the pieces of a movie that should absolutely crack my top 10, but it never quite coalesces into a film that I can actually care about.
And what's your rating?
7.5.
Oh, wow.
That's a solid rating. Though.
That is.
So you like the movie.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it, but...
Yeah. I said, here's my slogan. Putting a baby behind the wheel of a car is always a risky decision. But for Edgar Wright, I guess it paid off. But I'm still giving this movie a 5.5 out of 10.
5.5, wow.
I didn't love it.
It's on the good
Clearly.
If 5 is
It's just
5's neutral, right?
See, and we'll get into why, because like 5 is neutral and it's just 0.5 over neutral for me because there's a lot of good stuff in this movie. Obviously, technically, it's really great, but
I'm with you there, but the good stuff is so good.
It is.
That's the
So
thing.
good.
Is like some stuff in this movie is masterful, and other stuff just didn't get any attention.
Yeah.
So I'm giving this movie a 6. Music videos should just stay in their lane.
Hey.
that's a good slogan.
Thank you. You love my slogan.
I like this one.
You liked the last few too.
It was technically well executed. The other ones.
I'm going to push back on your stuff a little bit right after this message from our sponsor, Private Internet Access, VPN. Private Internet Access helps you hide your true IP address so that you can bypass geo restrictions and censorship and other stuff that other people are trying to put on you in your face, you know? Get on my face, IPIA.
Yeah.
You can connect up to 5 devices at once, and it includes an internet kill switch if your VPN gets disconnected involuntarily. Now I'm going to disconnect my braces. Oh. PIA is available for Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and even has a Chrome extension, so check it out at lmg.gg/carpoolpia.
Did you have that ready to go? That brace bit?
Oh, so much better. Oh, I just realized I hadn't done it, and I'm like...
That worked out great. Baby, 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 baby. Why you driving so much, baby?
Are you going to give us a synopsis of this movie, or is there
That
a
was
point?
it.
That was it, eh?
Baby is a talented young getaway driver with tinnitus, that's a ringing in the ears, which he blocks out by constantly playing music. After paying off his debt to the crime lord, Doc, Baby is finally free. He meets and falls in love with Deborah, a diner waitress.
Her name is Deborah.
It is. But before they can hit the road, Doc calls Baby in for one more job. Or more jobs, it's not clear. He's sucked back in. Stuck with a crew of unstable thugs, Baby's going to have to pull off his most daring getaway yet, escaping from all these crazy criminals. Which he does, but then he goes to jail. And the movie keeps going for some reason. Why does it keep going? Why doesn't it just stop?
I agree with you, man. I thought when he was on that bridge getting arrested,
Yeah.
end it right there.
Oh, perfect.
Well,
Yep.
they want to leave you with like that ambiguous ending where you're like, you can't be sure if he's actually being set free or if it's all in his imagination.
What?
Wait, what?
What was ambiguous about that? I thought him just getting arrested would be ambiguous. This is like they send him. He's on trial. All these people are like, he's a really nice guy. It's not his fault. Wrong place, wrong time. He gave me my purse back before he left. And then we're just like, we like this protagonist.
Yeah.
Then he goes to jail for at least 5 years. And this girl he's known for like a week
Exactly.
just sticks by him. Cool.
I'm like, wow.
Gives him postcards, which are totally meta. We can talk about those later. And then he gets out, gets the girl, has a nice car. It's all good, no?
Well, I think that's why he's saying.
So it's the big debate online if it's actually real or not.
Is that actually
whether
a
it's
big
his
debate?
imagination? Yeah, it's a pretty big debate. This movie is beloved. It's the Edgar Wright's most like highest grossing movie.
Yeah.
and it won our poll. So like,
I think
there's
we're gonna-
people that really do care about this movie.
But if you Google Baby Driver Reddit, a lot of the results are, here's my problem with this movie. Oh, this movie
For sure.
was hyped and I didn't like it that much. It seems like really mixed reviews.
Well, I think it came with the first wave of reviews was insanely high. And it's because people recognize like the technical proficiency in this movie. And like, there is so many things to talk about. I made a list originally. My notes were just like 1,000 different little things that I like about this movie. And like, there's like endless amounts of like little details that are so good. Little lines that they throw back at each other, little callbacks. Like everything Baby says in this movie is a remix of something he heard. There's not a single original line. Everything is like a callback to either something he saw, something someone said about himself. Like even when he's like standing up for himself and he's like, I'm fast, I'm this. It's exact wording that has been used before. And
Wait,
like,
really?
Yeah.
Not a single line is original?
I don't know if there's like, I think some of the romance stuff is, and that's kind of about like
okay.
him breaking out of this
Right.
like remixing thing.
That was
but
really
can we talk about this
interesting.
debate though?
Yeah, so the ending, the signs that it's imaginary is the fact that it's so picturesque that we've seen him have that vision before, almost identically. The fact that it's black and white to that. The fact that it's really unrealistic that she would stick by him. That like, how would she have this car? Like, there's a lot of like things that are too convenient and like.
But he had lots of money.
Well, it would all be taken away.
I don't know. We don't know. It's in the floorboards. Who knows?
No, he took it out of the floorboard.
he gave it
He
to
gave it
his
to Joe.
Give it to Joe.
foster dad.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't thought about it too hard. I just thought that was interesting to be able to see this movie as that, as him trying to deal with jail. It definitely doesn't do that enough. And I'm more on your side. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate.
I think people are reaching because if the argument is that it's unrealistic that she would stand by him, it actually isn't given what we've seen from her thus far in the movie. Their meeting is so, like, right off the bat, they click so hard that it borderlines on being like extremely cute / just male fantasy of how you hope an interaction with a girl would go.
Yeah, she seems a little like too, like, oh, hey, yeah, I don't know anything about you, and you're mysterious and maybe creepy, but I just love you.
I'm just gonna pick up your tape recorder and sing into it and say some stuff into it. Like,
she's like very high in trait openness. I'll say that.
Yeah.
like it's like he would have to be DiCaprio, and she recognizes DiCaprio, and she's really outgoing and clever, and there's like, that guy, I'm getting with that guy right now, I'm doing whatever it takes.
Yeah.
That's the level of attraction she has to Baby.
I can get behind the idea of the ending being ambiguous. Obviously, like, that's what a lot of people are talking about. It makes sense. I think that's one of the things that this movie, one of the mistakes that it makes is that it's like, okay, we set things up so that we have this ambiguous ending. They set up the third act so that they avoid the obvious path, which would have been to have Doc be the main antagonist.
Kevin Spacey, very
Kevin
evil.
Spacey.
Or
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx or John Barenthal's
Yeah.
character. Which I like. I like that
How
it's the
many evil
character
people are in
that
this
you kind
movie?
of like?
Well-
like the one that's like the least reprehensible that turns on him.
That's what's annoying about it to me, because it's like, all right, there's a twist. You thought it was going to be Doc. You thought it was going to be
Bats.
Jamie Foxx. But no, we tricked you. Oh, it's a subversion for the sake of subversion, which I think is dumb, because then we don't get that heavy payoff. We don't get that emotional weight of him defeating Buddy, because we don't hate Buddy.
I disagree. I think that it had to be Buddy being the villain, because this movie's plot is a romance. The A plot is actually them falling in love, and like that's what he wants, is to make a meaningful connection, and that's what the whole structure of the plot rolls around. And so his antagonist is this dude who's like so toxically in love with this woman. And so that's a better foil than having it be another random thug that just we think is evil.
I can see that argument, and I think on paper it maybe makes sense, but practically in the movie, he has the only thing we see of Buddy is that they kind of get along, and there's no hint of them having any conflict until the very end when he's like screws it up by killing bats, and then Buddy just like flies into a rage.
I think
It's so
though,
sudden. It's
He
like a
kills his
switch.
girlfriend. It's all because he's mad about the
Yeah, he's
death
mad
of
about his girlfriend, but it's like a switch is flipped. There's no build up to that conflict at all. It's no conflict, no conflict, no conflict. Suddenly there's conflict, and that's the final confrontation.
That's true, but I also would have been unsatisfied if it had been Bats or Griff, because they annoyed me because they just hate Baby for the sake of hating Baby.
Yeah.
Like, they just show up out of nowhere and they're like,
Well, no.
you're different.
Doc
I don't
doesn't-
like your kind.
I get what you're saying about Bats, but Doc doesn't hate Baby at all.
I think
I didn't say
you're
that.
right.
I
I think
didn't say
Doc could have been
Doc.
the villain, and I think that would have been fine. But a lot of people don't like this, but I actually like him turning and helping them. I think it feels good.
Oh, it felt so dumb.
I like it, and
Okay,
but then I love that they immediately destroy him.
Yeah, but the way he gets
rip
killed
him
was so
apart.
stupid.
It's just such. It's so like it's like a shock to have him suddenly flip the switch and be like, "Oh, actually, I'm gonna help you," and then such a shock. Oh, actually, we're gonna kill him right away.
Okay, so there is
No, but
hints.
wait.
There is hints.
Wait, before you tell me your cool thing, I just want to say, for the record, they go down this elevator, the elevator's doors open, and these cops from before are waiting there at the elevator. They have the jump on them. They're
Right.
like, bananas!
Oh,
And then
yeah,
Doc is there with a shotgun at the front of the elevator. He's like, oh crap, they're surprising me. 3-on-1. And still, I shoot them all.
Yeah, that was silly.
I'm like,
that was silly.
What the hell is the element of surprise worth here?
yeah.
Yeah.
Seasoned veteran cops.
But no, don't you understand, James? That's a really cool action movie moment where
Kevin
Doc
Spacey.
Doc kills the 3-on-1. He somehow survives. Oh man, he's so cool.
Kevin Spacey and a big gabardine just shotgunning people.
All the characters in this movie are so cool. They are so cool with their sunglasses.
Kevin Spacey's not cool in this movie. He looks like from the accounting department. or
He's
something.
menacing. Yeah, that's why he's menacing, is because he kind of looks like normal.
What I like about this movie is that everything is set up, everything is a payoff. And I mean, I'm going to have to go into a little bit of the color of this movie. So this movie goes primary colors. Everything's red, blue, yellow. Red being the glamorized side of crime, blue being the cops closing in or like the consequences of crime coming in, yellow being the hopeful future, and that's why Deborah's always wearing that. But then there's green, and green only exists in his foster dad's house. So that's his house is all painted green, and that's supposed to be like health, respite, and all these things. The only other place that has green is the hideout. And it's a different shade of green. It's half blue, half green. And it's supposed to kind of give you the sense that like that Ansel Elgort's character, Baby, sees Doc kind of like a dad, but also like the crime closing in. And I also think like in terms of their character dynamic, like
Wait,
he's
I thought
always
that crime was red.
glamorous crime is red.
Blue is
Like the consequence
risk.
of crime.
Oh, okay. So what about that laundromat scene where we have all those different
All the
primaries?
colors. So that's one scene I have a trouble. There's a few times where I'm like, I don't quite get what they're
In case you
going
don't
for.
remember, there's like they're in a laundromat and there's this really cool shot where they have like a wall of washing machines, and then through the portholes of each one you can see just like laundry that is only that one color. Like one machine only has yellow, one's blue, and one's red, and it looks really nice.
Yeah. And I think that's, for me, the first time that I noticed the colors was that scene. So I kind of think that it's in there to be like, wow, look at the primary colors. And then you start to notice that like everything is in primary colors after that.
Oh, it's just to establish it.
I think so. Because like the rest of the laundromat's painted blue, that fits the kind of other scheme. But it doesn't work thematically for that scene where it's like it should be
Theory's
yellow.
falling apart, David.
No, it's not. Trust me. I'm not the only one that thinks this theory.
This is such a great example to me of like how this movie just knocks it out of the park in terms of its aesthetics
For sure.
and like
And editing.
technical execution.
Editing
Yeah,
too. There's
yeah.
lots of cool match
Yeah.
match frames.
The
So
whole-
like she'll have a shot of the top of a coffee cup, and then it'll just cut to an elevator button, which is round like
Yeah.
the coffee cup, and it's just a nice match frame.
Everything is so well technically executed, but that's my problem. Is that it's so I feel like they blew all of their resources on executing that well, and they didn't really think about the script so much.
Well, totally. They didn't appreciate the value of really 3D characters. And like, there's no one in this movie that's 3-dimensional. Like, the love interest, Deborah, what does she want? What is she? Okay, she wants to get out of here. That's it.
Yeah.
Baby, what does he want? Like, to get out of the life of crime. That's
They're
it.
young. Dumb.
But like all of the villains, like sure they're colorful and they're interesting, but like they have no dimension to them. And like we had kind of talked about it, like what makes a good character. And there's kind of like two levels of good character. There's the Han Solos, that's like the over exaggerated, really easy to identify. But then there's kind of the more complex, like Michael Corleone, where there's like it's not quite as on the surface, but there's so much going on underneath. And this movie kind of gets on the surface stuff, but it absolutely fails at getting the heart of a character. And like Han Solo has a heart, but like who are these people? I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
Like if you ask to answer the question, like a canvasser comes up to this person, asks them to donate to animal welfare. Does baby donate or not donate?
The only
I
person
think
I
baby
know,
just kind of goes like, and just keeps walking.
He just dances away. He shouldered checked them as he danced by. And went, oh, sorry.
my biggest character problem is actually Jamie Foxx, and I used to think he was my favorite character in this movie.
I hate him in this movie
because I think he gives a great performance, and you can tell like he brings a lot of energy to it, and you can tell everyone worked really hard on this movie. It's not like anyone didn't try.
No. Really?
But
I had the opposite impression when I first watched it.
really?
I felt this last night, but on my first watching, my greatest takeaway was like, all-star cast, no one cared.
No, I just think that
Flea kind of phoned it in.
I don't know. I like the
that was
no
Flea.
Yeah, Flea.
Yeah.
Flea has a cameo as one of the
no.
Yeah. As one of the thugs.
Yeah, I like that. But Jamie Foxx, this isn't his fault, but for me, that's the turning point of the movie. I think the first half of the movie is stronger, where all the elements are gelling. There's interesting stuff. You're constantly getting these reveals, and the technical side is perfect. But what happens with him is with bats is that Buddy asks, "Oh, I want a pack of gum. Anyone got gum?" So they go to the gas station, and he comes out with a bunch of gum, and you look in, and he's killed the gas station attendant.
Oh, he did kill him.
Well, we don't know, but I'd assume so because he then keeps killing people all night. To me, that was the moment where the believability of the movie falls apart. Because I'm like, okay, that's good characterization. He's a guy who doesn't give a fuck. He'll shoot anybody. Doesn't matter. But
they call me the shootster.
The bat shootster.
I'll shoot anybody.
But
wait, you made that up, right? He doesn't say that, does he?
He doesn't.
He definitely does.
I would believe it, honestly. The dialogue in this movie.
But that's the moment where I'm like, that's too far. Like, that's too far for the sake of, like, characterization that the whole world of the movie doesn't make sense anymore. Like, no one would do that. That doesn't make any sense. Especially when he had given a speech, like, 5 minutes earlier of being the professional and doing all these things. And I'm like...
Yeah, a lot of this movie doesn't really... It seems kind of mythical in the sense that, like, it doesn't really seem like it takes place in the real world.
Totally.
Like, so they're in Atlanta, apparently. Yep. But, like, we're assuming that they're doing bank heists like every other week or something, and it's like we're just getting away with it. It's totally fine. Like this would be like the biggest streak of bank heists in the history.
They're in the newspaper.
Yeah, they're in the newspaper, but like his whole job is being a getaway driver for these bank heists. It's like how many bank heists there have to be before there's like a huge crackdown and they actually find these guys? Like bank heists aren't that common, guys.
It's true.
Well,
maybe
they're not specifically bank heists. Like the big job in this movie is robbing the U.S. Postal Service of money orders and then fencing those money orders. It's not the same as robbing a bank.
Okay, well, armored car, yeah, whatever.
And there's tons of armored cars that rip around all day, like going to different places. They go to your movie theater to pick up the cash, everywhere.
Yeah. I'm just saying that, like, I don't read about armored cars getting broken into all the time in the newspaper.
Less believable to me is when they're robbing that armored car and there happens to be like a good Samaritan there who's like a Marine or something like that and decides to intervene and like smash his truck into them. And then I believe he has a pistol that he attacks them with.
Yeah.
And then he has a submachine gun
I wrote that
on the seat of his
I wrote that down. I was like, what? Why does this guy have a loaded SMG in his truck?
Have you been to the States?
And isn't it like under a newspaper? Like he like lifts something up.
He just grabs it. It's just on the passenger
You're right.
seat.
The chances of that crazy person being there is insane. But that's not like people in the people have MP5s. Like that's I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Was it an MP5
Yeah, it was an
or was it
MP5.
an UMP?
No, it was MP5.
All right.
I don't know. It seems like to me, David, you can flesh this out, but I believe the origin story of this movie is just like a filmmaker sitting in his car, hears a song that he likes, goes, hell yeah. In his brain, he makes a pattern between this cool thing happening right now and the thing he thinks about a lot, which is making movies. And he goes, wouldn't it be so cool if I made a movie where this song just played like during a heist because this is a great heist song.
Yeah,
And then they just made the movie from there, and it was like whatever screenplay works, the most formulaic, like whatever screenplay. So then they're like, we just need a bunch of chases. Oh crap, wouldn't it be cool if this chase involved us getting shot at? It's like you're just dropping a doodad in like a map maker. Citizen with MB5.
Yeah, we need it to be a chase scene somehow.
In defense of that scene, it's awesome. And like the actual chase is so cool. Like when they're going around and like they have to like drive sideways and then they get like pinned under the truck and like they like flip that dude over and like we're ripping into this movie, but I think that like the technical elements of it make up for a myriad of crimes. And like we're all in agreement that like the characters aren't that strong. The writing is very simple, but the fact that like this movie is like everything is timed to the music is pretty impressive. And it's so cool. Like I think my favorite time to the music moment, I mean all of them, every chase, every run, every moment, everything is perfectly timed. But
you're talking about like when people are shooting at each other.
Yeah, everything, every
bang.
cut, it's all bang. But the one that really blew me away this rewatch is the gunfight when Bats thinks that the undercover cop is like undercover and is gonna like try and trap them. And he opens fire and there's a gunfight and it's to the song Tequila. And man, like that gunfight is so quick, so good, but like everything that happens is just on the beat and it feels good and it accentuates the music. It makes the song better somehow. It's not like some of the other ones where it's just like the song is happening and this stuff is happening and it cuts together. Like the added percussion of the guns totally adds to the excitement of the song. And then there's like the punchline at the end. He's like, ooh, tequila. Love it.
Yeah.
So good.
No, I mean, that is something. So I watched this. I've seen this movie only once all the way through. I tried watching it once previously and I only had time to watch half of it or something.
And what non-TV display were you watching it on that time?
An iMac, 27-inch iMac.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Okay, this is the one movie that I will say you guys are probably right where this would be objectively better and probably I would have liked it more if I watched it on a big screen with a proper sound system.
I cranked it.
Yeah.
It was sweet.
It's pretty insane.
But that's because this movie depends so much on the music and that technical side of it.
Totally.
I wish it didn't, but I can't deny that like especially that opening scene where he's like, dancing around in the car or whatever, and then they take off, and that whole intro sequence, the whole getaway, where you see
the first
the cop,
and he wins using his smarts, not just his driving skills, where he like forces the other car to take his spot, and then he's able to get away. I'm like, that's a good.
Yeah, so they're driving. I actually read the screenplay for this randomly a few weeks ago, because I was trying to write a chase. And I was like, how do chases go?
Whoa.
And there's they wrote into the screenplay the fact that there's a helicopter chasing them and that there's two other cars that look like his car on the road. I believe in the screenplay it was a Honda, but he's driving a Subaru in this. Mm-hmm. And then the helicopter obviously just sees these three red cars. They each have a sunroof, they're all the same. But then they go under an overpass, or there's a bridge over them. And in that moment, he switches lanes in front of one of the other cars, slams his brakes, so that car has to change lanes to where he was. And then they emerge, and they're totally... they're all cars mixed up. The helicopter can't chase them. It's awesome. One thing I like about that opening scene is from the like opening marquee, as we like fade in, you hear the tinnitus, but you don't know that's what it is. You hear this ringing, but that's because you always hear that when Baby's not playing a song. And that's the case. He's sitting in the car with no music playing at all. And then when he starts to play the song, one thing I like is he starts kind of grooving to it. But then he flips on his windshield wipers right at the right part of the song, and he dances with the windshield wipers.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that's great. Now I know, here's a guy who spends a lot of time in his car. That characterization is so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of clever bits they do for characterization of Baby, and like they constantly give you more kind of angles by which to see him. Like, okay, he's got this foster dad that he learned sign language to communicate with, and he really does care for him. Oh, okay, he's a remixer, so what he does is he records everything and then he remixes it. Like all these really interesting quirks, but I never feel like I got to know him. I feel like, like even though I know he's been in a car, I know these things about him. Mm-hmm. I don't know Miles.
I think that's a failure of the second half of the movie. The first hour of this movie is so sweet, but it was about an hour in. About the time where they meet up the cops and do that convenience store robbery, I was just like, this should be over already. I don't care anymore. But that first bit is so good. Like, there's so many questions in the first 15 minutes. Like, his name, it's B-A-B-Y, baby. Why is it baby? Why does he always have to spell it? Like, I like that. Why doesn't he talk that much? Why is he in debt? I don't know if we ever find that out. wait, this guy can speak sign language? Who's this deaf guy? And where did Ansel Elgort? Where did Ansel Elgort learn to dance? Damn. He's got some kind of dance background.
Oh yeah,
He
he's
did.
a ballerina. He was
a ballerina.
He was trained in ballet since he was born.
He's got the spins.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's very spinny.
Do you guys like him in this movie? Or
Yeah. I actually don't hate him. I don't hate his
I don't hate him.
performance.
I just don't find him particularly engrossing. Like, you think about a movie like Driver, not Baby Driver, but Driver.
That's the
you mean-
That's the Ryan Gosling.
You mean Drive.
darker?
Drive.
Yeah, you're right. Drive. Think about
Driver's a video game.
There's also
think
The
there's
Driver,
Driver.
which is what this movie is more based on, which is like a 70s movie that I haven't seen.
Did
think
Drive
there's
come
a-
out the same year as this?
No, that came out before. I
I think
They
Driver
came out like within a couple of years.
Yeah.
Driver might be a movie with Nicolas Cage.
Is that based on the
Anyways.
video game?
Anyways,
Continue.
in Drive,
Wait, is that a golf movie?
yep, 5 iron. In Drive, Ryan Gosling probably gets less characterization than Baby does, but because of what Ryan Gosling brings to that performance,
Because Ryan Gosling is just a totally mysterious, nebulous, smoldering mass.
honestly, yes. Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I experienced more emotion with him. I was there on the ride with him, and that's a skill of a leading man, I think. And I don't know if I feel like Ansel Elgort has that. Maybe he'll grow into that, but I don't feel
Yeah.
like he brought me into himself.
Ryan Gosling just has, I complain about Ryan Gosling and how his whole method of acting is basically just to stare. But like, he's really good at staring.
That's
Really
a
good
deep
staring.
stare.
It's a deep stare.
David, do you think it's because he has sunglasses on the whole movie?
I think that's part of it. One of the tricks when you're writing is when you write a villain, you give them sunglasses so you can't see their eyes because the eyes are the window of the soul. And so
True,
I think
true.
it's a brilliant little character thing that he hides himself behind these sunglasses, and he's gotten all these sunglasses from stealing cars. That's where he gets them. He doesn't buy them. Every time he steals a car, he just takes the sunglasses.
Oh, is that in the movie? I didn't see
It's
that.
not in the movie. I read that after. But
It's in the-
I love
it's in the lore. It's in
I
the
love
comic
when
book.
John Bernthal is like smacking away the thing, and he turns
Yeah.
around and he just like in the background puts more sunglasses
He's
on.
got
Like,
another
these
pair.
those are clutch moments. Those
Yeah.
are friggin' money. But you're right. I think it does hide him a little bit.
He exposes himself through dance.
He exposes himself.
He does. The second opening scene, there's a kind of two opening scenes. After that first chase, then you get that big, I think it's a oneer,
Yep.
a big long tracking shot where he's walking through town and he's listening to his music and dancing. And I love this because if you're a music lover, you could totally relate to like just
Totally.
having a song playing when you're in a good mood and sunny day, and it is the soundtrack to your life. And everyone else is just, it's like solipsism. Everyone else is just exists
Yep.
in your world. And you're like, he's dancing around through this environment. And if you notice, you can watch all these YouTube videos of things you may have missed in this movie. While he walks through that environment, some of the things are obvious. Like he holds up his hands like he's playing a trumpet as he passes by some graffiti or a poster of someone playing a trumpet. But there's a ton of other ones. There's like little posters on the lamppost that have the lyrics that are being sung at that exact moment.
Right.
There's like I think he passes by a guy who's like yelling at like some churchy stuff at him, and that guy happens to say one of the lyrics at the right time. All sorts of cool stuff. But then he's also kind of like knocking into other people.
Yeah.
And not like seeing them. Is that part of his character? Is
That's
that
what I was wondering, because like part of it seems to be that like, okay, when he's in a car, he's like the master, the magician, but then when he's in like just walking around, he's kind of just unaware of himself. But it seems weird that he would cross the street and like not be aware of the cars either. And so I'm not sure what the goal of that characterization was.
I think the goal of that characterization is to have a really cool one long shot sequence that's timed to music, and that's it.
That's fair. And then maybe they wanted that, like the shoulder checks are all in music.
Yeah.
Other things that are really cool about that. So there's in that one shot, they kind of come around to the same spot, and they've added graffiti so that the lyrics are completed, so that like the second time you see it there's more lyrics. But also when he's inside the coffee shop, he waits a beat so that he can answer his coffee order on the beat, which is great. But also on the mural outside, there's a heart, and it's black. And then he sees Deborah pass, and then when the camera is following her, the black heart is now red.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that in a behind the scenes kind of
There's
thing.
so, like, honestly, okay, I know that stuff is, like, really cool.
Yeah.
But honestly, that kind of stuff, like, bugs me
Well,
in a film, because I'm like, all right, that's really cool, but, like, you want me to watch this movie how many extra times to
okay,
catch all of these things?
those kinds of things do not a movie make.
Yeah.
So if it's already a sweet movie and it has those extras, then you're
Yes.
golden.
Totally.
If it has those extras but doesn't have it where it counts,
Yeah.
And
the
I think
fundamentals.
I think that's what bothers me really about this movie. I feel like I would have given it a higher rating instead of a 5.5 if because honestly, the reason why it's filled up the bar up to 5.5 for me is all that stuff. Like I acknowledge that objectively, all that stuff is really cool. You know, the fact that they were able to squeeze all of this excellent filmmaking, tweaks into this movie is amazing. It's an achievement of music video production. But the fact that the thing that's making the rest of the rating on the 10 scale missing for me is the fact that it's not really it's flash. It's all flash and no substance.
100%. I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, like when Kevin Spacey's character is drawing on that chalkboard, just giving out a huge dump of exposition, just telling this other character baby's whole life story just for the benefit of the audience.
Yeah.
Then he backs away from the chalkboard. He's like, good goddamn, I just drew a whole fucking map during that.
I really like that moment.
Yeah, I like that.
I love that.
I think in other places the movie does a pretty good job balancing like exposition with tension. Like there's the scene in the diner where Bats is kind of coming at Buddy and he's trying to like read him. And I like that there's like tension for this scene and it's a scene that's unrolling, but like it also kind of gives you information on Buddy. And I feel like they do that a few times where they're unveiling a little bit about Baby through exposition that's happening, but it's tension with other characters. And I think that's something the movie does pretty well, is giving you information with a decent scene, not just like stopping everything. And like even in that scene that you're saying, like they don't just stop everything and have him like explain. There's other things happening. There's other details. There's other moments. It's part of a scene and it works for me.
So many things happen simultaneously. Yeah.
The dialogue though is so like it's not bad dialogue for the most part. It's really snappy, but it's almost so snappy and clever that it's unrealistic.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think that's the other thing that this movie reminds me of. I wasn't a cool kid. Like when I was like a little kid, I wasn't cool. I was a huge dork.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, I'm not a cool kid now.
I'm a child.
Yeah, I'm a baby driver. But I think that I have like a visceral opposition to movies that are like trying really hard to be like cool, you know? Like, look at how cool these guys are. They always wear sunglasses. Look at this really cool turn that he can pull off in the car. Whoa, what a cool guy.
Hey, you think Tarantino's the only one who can make a cool soundtrack?
Yeah. Man, he's so cool. And I think so. I see that happening in the film, and I'm just like,
Especially at the beginning.
you're too cool.
At the opening scene when those bandits get out of the car and they're all like synced. And
Yeah.
they like walk in step.
Yeah.
They look so cringe.
But I
they
think-
don't look cool to me.
Okay, so here's my pushback.
And I
think
also-
the point is to make Baby not feel part of that. He's like So one thing they do is that they dress everyone very distinctly. They tell you a lot about their characters through what they're wearing. And one thing they do is they'll dress Baby in black and white, whereas everyone will have colors. Like you think about Bats, he's got that bright red. Because he glamorizes the criminal life. He's like, yeah, I'm a criminal. This is great.
Yeah.
But Baby's always wearing black and white because he's kind of caught between the criminal, the dark side.
because he's bland.
Because yeah, sure, I agree. And white, like he's still a good guy and all these things.
But his white shirt gets dirtier and darker throughout the film, I
Yes.
believe.
Yeah,
for sure.
But that's what's funny about that is because when he's with the other criminals, he will be reserved. But then in private, he's dancing around, he's going crazy. When he's walking on the street by himself, he's like, pretending to play trumpet and stuff. He's so that's an interesting bit. I watched a video about this. Again, I can never take credit for these like cool theories that I come across. But like I watched a video about how Baby is kind of like he's an introverted character, and the movie is saying it's taking like a nuanced look at introversion, because you think of an introvert as just somebody who's like maybe shy and they're reserved and they don't really ever kind of let loose, but Baby lets loose. He just only lets loose when he's
by himself.
with people he's comfortable with.
Oh yeah.
He's by himself or with Joe
Or
with
anonymous
Deborah.
in a crowd. Anonymous in the city with
Right.
sunglasses and headphones on.
Right.
The do not fucking talk to me kind of shield.
But then as soon as he starts interacting with the criminals, he just goes into his own little world.
Adults are here.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I also thought it was an interesting transition. You were talking about his wardrobe and how that changes. There's kind of like a shift that happens in the movie, right? When he meets Deborah, that's kind of a shift.
Deborah.
Before he meets Deborah, the only person he really, has in the world that he could care about is Joe. And Joe's successfully isolated from his like criminal
In the green
life,
world,
right?
in the green room.
And as soon as Deborah kind of gets brought into it, then he suddenly has a reason to care. And so he's like, oh, shoot, I got to do something about that. But before that, he's kind of like using the music almost as a block to be like, all right, all these horrible things are happening, but I can get through it by using this music as a block. And then once he realizes that, oh, okay, this is bad and we got to do something about this, I have to kill these guys or else I won't be able to get away. You see his wardrobe kind of change as he like transitions into
he gets
a more
his hands
extroverted.
dirty. He gets his hands dirty.
That's right.
That's the whole Dolly Parton thing where he talks to that person who works at the USPS and she says you can't have a rainbow without a little rain. Something like that. She's quoting Dolly Parton. Mm-hmm. And one of the final scenes when he walks out of the prison, there's a giant rainbow there.
There was rain before.
Yeah.
The rain that happens before is when he's driving Bats around back to do the job, and it's raining there. Bats gets in the car, and because there's a truck ahead of their car that has like rebar sticking out of it, Baby hits the accelerator, and the rebar comes to the window and impales Bats. And that's when it's raining. That's when his character changes. He gets his hands dirty for the first time. Instead of being not the type of person who fits in that world, he dives into it.
Right.
I do like that moment. Like, it really depends on which rewatch if I like it or not. Because sometimes I'm like, why would you do that, dude? Just like, there's a lot of better ways to deal with this. But this,
just finish the job. Just go on your road trip like 8 hours later.
Yeah. Just talk it out.
Yeah. Just like get through this and then be done. But it feels good to see Bats die. I'm not gonna lie. You guys, piece of shit.
You know what doesn't feel good? Seeing Monica, or what was her alter ego? Darling. Seeing her holding 2 machine guns, dual wielding, and just like spraying them at cops while she's standing there in open, no cover.
Yeah, steps out in the open. Ugh.
All the action in cars, good. Action out of cars on foot, bad.
I thought his foot chase was okay. I think like he does a decent job, like seeming athletic and like getting away. And,
Yeah, it turns out he's also really good at parkour.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I like it when he goes into like the mall and he gets into like the souvenir shop and he quickly gets like the jean jacket, gets the sunglasses, and when he's like checking himself out, you can see the cops are closing in on him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, chase on!" And I thought that was like such a good moment, and like then he reconnects with Darlington.
Disguised for no reason.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
caught immediately, and now I'm wearing more layers. Oh god, it's so hot.
Yeah. That was the only thing I was thinking of that scene. I was just like, oh, I just put on all those clothes for no reason. What a waste. Shoplifted for no reason.
He's got the sunglasses now.
Man, I'm still disappointed about the buddy thing. Like because I got to bring it back, because that's really the main problem for me with this movie was the second half or the third act, where like it's so strong up until that shift happens. Because all they would need to do to make that make sense for me is have Buddy just seem kind of a little menacing before that or something.
And I think they need to rejigger the structure of the movie a little bit. It seems like they didn't quite have the 3-act structure fully in mind the whole time, where like it's like, okay, there's these things that happens, there's this next thing that happens, there's this thing that happens, and then it's like, okay, we're building towards a thing now. It doesn't feel like everything that happens in the first scene is like moving us towards the next thing, which is escalating, which is moving us. And I think with like a little rejiggering, this movie could feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't have a sense of Baby's like inward journey.
He has
I
none.
know that he wants to stop doing these missions and wants to run away with his girlfriend and drive down the road with no plan and some money or something. But I don't know what he's trying to do on the inside.
Well, he's very passive.
There's really no internal conflict in him.
Well, there's
It's
conflict.
There's conflict, but there's no internal conflict. Yeah. His conflict is, I want to get out of this situation. I want to get away from Doc, and that never changes the entire time.
You're right, though. He's reactive.
He never realizes something.
He's reactive. Things happen to him. He's not driving the story. He's like, man, you know what? I don't want to do any more missions. You have to.
Whoopsies.
And I think with like just like the smallest rejiggering, this movie could go from like a 7 area to me to like a 9. Like it's got all the details. It's got all like the hard work done. If Edgar Wright had kept his director's cap off just a little bit longer and stayed in the writer's role, I think this movie could have been excellent.
Yeah, it's like he wears the hat for a certain amount of time and then he takes it off and then he doesn't go back.
Yeah, and he's like, I like this
now I'm
director's
directing.
hat. And he's a great director.
I think, yes, he's a great director. Again, the technical execution and all that I don't think I've seen the level of like music syncing up with action on screen in another movie. I mean, I'm sure one exists. I don't want to say it doesn't, but like the way that this movie does that is just so
satisfying.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I will say it is cool. Capital C, cool.
I thought you hated cool.
I know. I don't like cool people. I like the fact that they were able to do this in the movie, but I particularly don't like when a movie really tries to make criminals look cool. It just rubs me the wrong way.
That's fair.
It's like make Baby Driver look cool all you want, but like they have these shots of like, you know, the thugs like walking up to the bank in their trench coats and their cool guns and sunglasses. It's like, yo, look how cool these guys are. It's like, I don't want.
Yeah, I don't think they do enough to kind of make them fall apart. Where like, I think it's okay if you introduce them as cool, but then as the movie progresses, you like kind of see the seams and you're like, eh. Like John Hamm's character, they kind of almost do that, where like they give you his backstory about being a stockbroker.
Yeah,
and like,
that makes him less cool.
It does, and I think that's good.
It makes him more sympathetic.
Yeah, but I don't think they ever fully unravel him in like a not cool way. Like even when he's like trying to kill Baby and Deborah, he's still cool.
Yeah,
but and like I still like it. Like all the little things. Like I think this is such a lame line when Darling is like, "Oh, you want to like step off, man, because when my buddy sees red, all you see is black.
Kill me."
Oh, she's brutal.
She's not great. And then at the end, I do like that like they've set that up, and that when he's in the police car chasing them, that's only a red light on him. So it's like, oh, he's seeing red, and he's gonna try and kill them. And I think that's like a neat little setup, and they constantly do stuff like that.
There's a ton of stuff like that. There's other things that make me mad, like when Baby's getting arrested at the end. They're on a bridge. He gets out of this truck. He puts his hands in the air. He's got the car keys in his hand, and he tosses them off the bridge. I'm like,
why?
Now there's going to be a tow truck coming. Like, you just made so much work. There's going to be traffic.
I thought that exact same thing while I watched that scene. I'm like, how are they going to drive the truck away?
Yeah, it's not a
Thanks,
good
buddy.
act of surrender.
Now, what the heck is your girlfriend going to do? She can't just drive home after this now.
Yeah.
Well, they would have arrested her too, for sure.
She's nice, though.
So wait, what do you think, David? Do you think the ending was real or not?
I think it doesn't matter. This movie's inconsequential to anything.
It's not.
It's really cool.
And that's the problem.
And I think we all agree. We just gave it just different scores. It's really cool. It's amazing when it's like doing the things that it's doing, but like it just doesn't matter. It's a movie that nothing matters, and like it doesn't stick with you for that reason.
Should have been like a short film.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
40 minutes, music video, like tied to some band. Do the whole thing tied to like their music.
It's like they wrote it as a short film and then just like stretched it out, like putty.
I don't know about that ending being ambiguous. It's not ambiguous. The film doesn't set that up.
It could totally be ambiguous.
It could be, just like that fan theory of like Deborah could be working for Doc, but that's just like
That's a theory.
You're reaching.
Well, you're an
there's
idiot.
no intentionality in the canon of the movie that leads you that way.
The argument is sort of that like he has the vision earlier in black and white of that exact same thing happening, and then at the end it starts in black and white and then kind of fades into color. So it's like maybe he's just imagining it still, you know?
No, when it fades into color, that means it's real.
Because what she's gonna wait 5 years for him to get out of prison. She's not gonna meet anybody else who isn't a criminal.
Well, okay, and so here's a little detail that also adds to that is that she sends him postcards, but the postcards are just the art that's in the diner. And so like it might not be a real postcard. That might just be what he remembers from the diner.
He went insane. I like this ending much better.
Way better.
I think that if you're gonna think that that's not real, then she's not real and nothing's real.
No, she's real.
It ends, the last shot is him like rocking back and forth in like an asylum. He's
Okay, yeah.
Imagine the whole thing. He's still in the car.
so fast.
I think
He doesn't even have a license.
I'm the best driver. I'm a baby driver.
He's actually a baby.
Oh, speaking of babies, did you notice that fake ass baby in this movie?
No,
remember when at the beginning they're switching cars and they carjack a lady who's got a baby in the back.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a shot where they pass her the baby, and it is the most dollest doll ever. I
didn't really pay attention.
Comes right up to the
That's
camera. It's
funny.
like, me and my wife were both like, "Whoa!"
I like that scene because it's like things are going wrong. The one dude's like, "I left my shotgun behind," and they're like freaking out. But like even before that, like I like that they have the Mike Myers mask.
Yeah, that's funny.
That was the best joke in the movie.
Yeah, totally. But it was a thing made out of necessity because it was supposed to be like the Halloween mask. But they couldn't get the rights. And so Edgar Wright messaged Mike Myers and was like, "Hey man, can we like use your likeness?" And Mike Myers was like, "Yeah, that sounds hilarious."
Oh, that's
Fuck
so
yeah.
funny.
Oh, that's
It's
sweet.
like, strangely, this is the only time someone has asked me to do this.
Showing.
The ending being real, I feel like maybe fits better with this universe because, as I said, it kind of does feel mythical. It doesn't really feel that realistic. So I guess I'm with you, James, on that, where, you know, in this Baby Driver universe where everyone's a one-note character and people are basically primary colors in this movie.
Yeah.
There's no nuance to them.
For sure.
Yeah, why not? She waits 5 years for him. She's the perfect girl. Why not?
What do you guys think of their names? Like,
I didn't need to know that his name was Miles at the end.
I don't hate that. I just
I
feel
kind of
like,
hate it because it's kind of like a driving pun,
Yeah, I feel like
distance.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even get that.
I didn't mean either. I see what I hate is I get the feeling that both Buddy and Baby were reverse engineered for the joke one-liner they get. Like fuck your baby and fuck
What?
you, buddy. Like they both have like a joke like climax moment
Wait,
where
who
Jamie
says-
Foxx. I can't remember what the scenario is, but he's like, yeah, fuck your baby. And it's supposed to be funny, but it's like, is his name specifically chosen just because they wanted to say that line? Same with Buddy, like Guy.
Buddy Guy, I'm not
Yeah,
the Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy.
They should.
I
They
hated
missed
that.
the opportunity to have a scene of Bats walking into the hideout, being like, "What's up, Doc?"
Hey,
Bats would have done that too, or maybe Griff.
He was the only person that was allowed to improv on set. Edgar Wright's like notorious for not allowing improv, but he allowed Jamie Foxx to improv, and a couple of his lines are just like improv.
You know, I don't really know much about
Jamie
Edgar
Foxx.
Wright.
He probably didn't even allow it. Jamie Foxx probably just did it anyway and then stared him down.
I don't know much about Edgar Wright, but that totally tracks with what I would assume, because everything in this movie is so meticulously thought out and planned that he's like, no, you can't improv.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You're trying to be creative?
Is he British?
He's British, yeah.
Yeah.
He's very British.
Well, you
This
know
is his
you
first-
can't improv.
Do you guys think that this is kind of a weird argument thing? Like, do you think that it's unfair to rate a movie based on things it's like not trying to be? Like, is it unfair for Riley to say this is a 5.5 because while it's good at these things, it sucks at these other things that I expect to be good in a movie? And instead, you should just be like, hey, this movie is not trying to have a good story, not trying to have characters. It's trying to be a cool music video, and in that regard, it's a 9. So you should give it a 9 overall.
Are you trying to change this discussion from a specific conversation about this movie to a discussion about the medium in general?
I just saw this on Reddit, and I thought the guy was an idiot.
No, I think it's I think it's a great question.
It's hard. I think like there's an element of balance where you absolutely do owe it to the movie to approach it on its terms, but the movie doesn't exist in a vacuum, and you watch movies as with an understanding of what movies are. And so it's up to the movie to give you what you expected of a movie, but it's also up to you to understand that like the movie's trying to be a certain thing. And I think this movie's trying to be the like have good characters. It's trying to have slick story, and it fails on those things. It's not that it's not trying to do those things. It's just that it failed.
It's like they made the movie as part of a competition where they had like a cap on some resource. Like, you guys you have 1 month to make this movie. So dang it, we can't focus on everything. We have
Yeah.
to pick one. But overall, I think it's dumb to think that you can just come into a movie and be like, you know what? I don't have any subjective dimensions to my film watching.
Yeah.
If this movie has a bad script, it's because they didn't want to have a good script. It's like, I'm just going to ignore that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when we watch something like that Pixar movie we just covered, Onward,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm going to give it a score that's commensurate with it being a kid's movie. And it's like, it's for kids. So I can't just be like,
Every movie is a 10 out of 10 because it achieved a movie. They set out to make the movie and they made it. So it's a 10 out of 10.
Honestly, it is a
Ribbons for
miracle
everyone.
that
I
any
str-
movies are good.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I don't know.
you're
It's a
just
question-
figuring it out in real time whether or not you agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait.
It's a question I struggle with all the time because, you know, I'll people will be talking about like John Wick and they'll be like, "Oh, John Wick's so good. I love the John Wick movies." And I'm like, John Wick is like, they suck. You know, like I don't, but it's because I don't like John Wick movies. But here's the reason I don't like them is because I think that in the possible universe of all potential films, John Wick is pretty low on like things that you could achieve in the medium. You know, you look at something like Blade Runner 2049.
Well, by which
And-
dimension though? Because if you're into like gun kata, then it's up there.
Yeah, so it's super up there on the gun kata, but there are movies that can have gun kata and really well written characters and compelling themes and plot.
Like Equilibrium.
Ew.
Exactly.
Stop it.
The perfect movie.
No.
Equilibrium. with
Like The
Christian Bale.
Matrix.
I loved Equilibrium when I was a kid, though.
Sure.
Dang.
When you were dumb and young.
This podcast is now about Equilibrium.
Yeah, like, okay, so there's all these categories that a movie could excel in, and there are movies that excel really well in a lot of them. So a movie that excels in more categories is better than a movie that only excels in a few categories.
And it's hard too because like so much of movie watching is a subjective experience, and you can give like an objective rating. You can make a score sheet of like, okay, I give this a 7 out of 10 in plot, a 6 out of 10 in characters, a 10 out of 10 in action, and I average and give a score. But like, that's not at all what your experience of watching the movie was. Like, you can't rate outside of like, okay, did I like it or did I not? Like, that's all you're rating on, and you like kind of parse it through like more objective filters. But like,
I don't think you're right about that. I mean, you might be right that the initial impression of a movie is like, did I like that in my gut? Like, what was my subjective feeling towards it? But I think the thing that informs our subjective feeling toward movies are these categories that we have in our head.
Yeah, I do agree there. And like it helps you kind of understand what that gut feeling is. I the more I think about ranking movies, and I'm sick, guys. I'm at movie 1248 for my list.
What does that mean?
Wait. Are you talking about because you got that app that No, you weren't there that episode.
I started.
What is this?
Spreadsheet. It's got 1,200 movies so
far. Son of a...
What? I'm sick.
Stop it. What is this spreadsheet? These are
ranking. It's just ranking movies.
You're saying
movies you've seen.
Yeah.
And you're at number 1,248.
Yeah.
Ranking movies.
Yeah. I'm sick.
David,
you gotta get this app that Brandon has.
I have that app. But it's only in stars. That's not enough granularity.
Oh, it's not 2 decimal places.
No.
So wait, what are you talking about? You can't objectively. This is your subjective ranking.
So what I'm saying, is that like it's hard because like I can parse all this information that I have as someone who reviews films and like understands whatever, and I can give it like a score, but that's not actually about how much I like it. It's just like a breakdown of the objective elements that I know, and that's what's like hard is how do I rank. It's a different ranking for how much I like something versus how good something is.
Sure.
Wait, what? It is?
For sure.
Like when you're giving a movie, like you're saying this movie is a 9.5. I don't like it, but it's a 9.5.
Well,
why would you do that?
You wouldn't get to a 9.5 without me liking it. And what I'm saying is that all ranking is meaningless because it's always a combo of both. It's always a combination of objective knowledge and subjective experience.
Well, okay, I guess I agree with you that like there is no way to truly objectively rank movies as like, and this is what it is. It's as true as gravity or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, we can
all agree.
Basically, we can basically say this movie's better than this movie. Like, I don't think we can rate them to that level of granularity where you have a list of 1,000 movies and they're perfectly ordered.
And it's a zero-sum game. They can't be on the same level. One's above another one.
In order of quality, you can't have that. But you can say, Star Wars: A New Hope is better than this movie.
That's fair. But I think
The Last Jedi.
Yeah, when you rank, you always have to qualify what you're ranking and like what the weighted score is. And
I'm still hung up on the fact that you're ranking things outside of whether or not you like them. Like, I'm trying to understand what that's like. It's like, I really appreciate how sick of a song Thriller is, but now that I know that he likes little boys' bumholes, I don't like the song Thriller. So I give it a 9, but when I listen to it, I feel like a 5.
Okay, so I see what you're saying.
Is that what's going on here?
I find it's more weighted the other way, where I'll like something that I know is bad, and so
then it's good.
And my okay.
Now we're getting into it.
What's wrong with you?
So you think if you like something but acknowledge objectively that it's bad,
there's something about it that's good. That's why you like it. Unless you really are self-aware enough to be like, guys, look, I really like the song Rapture by Blondie. It's a white woman rapping. Everyone hates it, but my mom used to listen to it a lot when I was a kid, and that's why I like it.
Okay.
What about
this? Keeping Up with the Kardashians, right? It's a bad show. All right. Technically, maybe there's some technical aspects that are executed well as far as reality shows go. But like as far as the entire spectrum of possible TV shows, it's a bad show.
Pretty low, yeah.
Right? But a lot of people love that show. They really like that show.
Yeah.
But
there's obviously an element to it.
People liking that show doesn't mean that it's a good show.
That means there's an element of it that is working, though. That's just like saying,
is
Candy Crush a great game? Compare it to God of War 3.
Well, okay.
No, but it's hitting that part in your brain that makes you keep playing.
It's great at exploiting some human system that is weak and is unable to resist it.
So are the Kardashians.
Okay, but that's we get into a whole discussion of what's your axiomatic rating system for quality in shows. If your axiom is that a show is good when it tricks people into watching it over and over and over, then yeah, it's a good show. But I don't think that's a good axiom to have.
Yeah,
I think you might, because you might say, "Oh, this book, I couldn't put it down," or "This show, the episode ended, I had to put another episode on." But that's one metric by which we measure success.
By that measure, potato chips are good because you can't stop eating them.
They are good.
They taste good, but are they good food? No.
Yeah. So my question is,
Well, what's the rating? Is the rating on whether it is it
rating a new podcast.
Is it nutrition out of 10, or is it like good for me eating these right now for a movie?
Well,
Okay,
maybe
10.
Anyone who's confused because we're talking about food now, just translate it to movies, okay?
Yeah. So my question is, like, what about movies like the Mario Brothers, where they're so bad they're good, where you're laughing at how bad the movie is, that you're like, and you enjoy that aspect of it?
No.
Does that now boost the movie back up, or is it now some nega rating where it's like -7 because it's enjoyable like a 7, but it's so bad and it's a 0? And
Now that's interesting. Like
That's
the
interesting.
Room, right?
Yeah, like-
You're like, this movie sucks, but it sucks so hard. We're in like this negative part of the scale. It's like a circle. It's like a snake eating its tail, and I'm laughing suddenly.
See, okay, so
gonna
to the
change my
question
rating
to the question of like what these ratings are made of, when we rate our movies, is that primarily a subjective rating or an objective rating? An attempt at a objective
There's
rating.
no such thing.
It's an
Yeah,
attempt.
there's no such thing as a truly objective rating.
What I'll
but-
tell you though is, if you ever see a movie rating for me that has a negative sign in front of it, that means it went full circle. Like a -10
we're
is like, this
there.
movie's so
That should
garbage,
be-
but I'm laughing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
having the best time.
Oh no, but then Doolittle should have been a negative
No,
rating.
but we weren't having a good time.
I wasn't having a good
That
time.
was
you're
just
right.
bad.
You're right.
It wasn't bad enough.
Yeah.
So you guys will know when we review a movie that's so
Cats-
bad that it's good,
Cats,
it'll have
I'm giving
a
it a
negative
new rating, like -6, because it's like 6. I had a 6 level of enjoyment overall. It's too long. It's a crap movie, but like I definitely enjoyed parts of it.
No, I'm giving it -1.
-1.
I'm updating to -1 because I liked a little bit. The thing is, you need friends. You can't do this kind of stuff alone. Don't watch The Room or Sharknado
Yeah,
alone. You
that's
watch it with
true.
friends,
Yeah,
and then
that's
you hate
true.
on it together and have
Sure.
fun.
Yeah.
For me, the ratings that we do every week are as close to an objective rating as possible. I try not to put in like my particular liking for it as much as possible. Like we'll see, if we ever did Star Wars, I would hopefully not rate them based on like, I really love this movie, and instead rate it as a film.
Yeah.
Because, this is what I do for The Last Jedi, right? Where I'm like, The Last Jedi made me really angry. And I spent a lot of time thinking about how stupid parts of that movie were. But at the end of the day, here we are, 3 years later?
Sure.
You're not going to be like, it's a 2.
Yeah.
'Cause it's obviously not.
It's
The acting and the effects.
objectively a decent film.
Yeah.
But I don't like it because of what it means to Star Wars.
So what's the modifier we put in front of it? Like division? A divider?
A modulus.
But, yeah.
Modulus.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're
I
making
don't know.
this so complicated. I love it.
No, I love it. This is great.
What are we going to do next? Is our...
Yeah, what's the
we
next
don't have
movie?
a plan for the next month, eh?
Oh, no.
We got to do some Tarantino stuff, guys.
Yeah.
That'd be done.
We got to.
That would be good. Although
Get some feet in
Tarantino
here.
is probably in the same sort of wheelhouse as Edgar Wright, right?
See,
What do you-
It's a little deeper.
What are you talking about?
What?
What do you mean?
Well, they're kind of like titillating a little bit,
Tarantino's on a different level than... I'm not
Tar-
even saying
I think-
quality level, although I would defend that opinion. I'm just saying like thematically and like vibeness.
Yeah.
It's like a whole different thing.
I'd
Yeah,
say
Well, so he's better, you're saying.
Well, I'm saying both. I enjoy his movies more than... I haven't seen that many Edgar Wright movies.
You think
Come
Edgar
on,
Wright's
you're
a
gonna
better?
put like Scott Pilgrim beside like Pulp Fiction? Like, come on.
yeah, I am. I'm going to say Scott Pilgrim's better than Pulp Fiction. Yeah, Pulp Fiction is a good movie, but it's not like that good.
Scott
It's
Pilgrim.
interesting. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim is incredible.
Well, then why didn't we do it today?
Because people are dumb.
People like Baby Driver
Hey,
more.
don't call our audience.
Okay, we're gonna do a Tarantino vote. How about that?
I'm so
But they were pretty close. Scott Pilgrim was the other one,
What's
right?
the other one? Yeah.
It was like 2% behind or something.
No, frankly, probably fewer people saw it, and it was like
Yeah.
it was
I mean,
2010.
Edgar Wright's total box office is like less than like 300 million or something, like everything combined. Whereas like a Tarantino movie will make 500 mil to a bill. Like he's obviously a much more popular filmmaker.
Well, now
500 mil to a bill.
500 mil to a bill.
Now, his biggest commercial success was Inglourious Bastards, and they've been big since. But like when you're talking Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill and Pulp Fiction, that was way lower.
Man, I would love to do Inglourious Bastards.
We'll do that eventually. We'll do a poll.
Or we should do Kill Bill, I guess, eh?
No one's gonna vote for Kill Bill. But it's the best.
Okay, we'll do.
Pulp
So
Fiction,
we're doing
Kill
Tarantino
Bill,
this week.
Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Inglourious Bastards, and
I haven't seen the most recent one.
Hateful Eight. I don't want to do.
No, that's
What?
not.
No,
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Hollywood.
No, I don't
Django
want to do that either.
Unchained. He wrote True Lies.
I think Django
Or not
and
True Lies, True Romance.
if we want to do Inglourious Bastards, I wouldn't suggest Django Unchained because I find they're so similar. They would split the vote.
They are
They're
pretty similar.
What?
yeah.
You think they're
Well,
They're the same movie.
In terms of
What?
like freedom fighter kind of fighting
It's
for justice
revenge porn
type of thing.
Yeah, just history, alternate history revenge
one's
porn.
killing racists, one's killing
Racist.
racists.
Yeah, but I
It's
feel
Nazis
like,
and
I feel like
slavers.
Inglourious Bastards is so much better than Django. I only watched Django once in the theater. I'll check it out again.
I think Inglourious Bastards is better, but they're the same movie.
Okay, guys,
This is-
I don't. This is really inside baseball, but I don't want to put. Bastards in the poll because it will definitely win, and I want to do a different movie, and we'll definitely do Bastards at some point.
And it's a swear word. And I
It's
don't.
spelled wrong.
That's true. So it's fine.
We should put more early Tarantino in it.
Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, True Romance.
Ooh, Pulp Fiction will win.
Yeah.
Fantastic, Mr. Fox.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Hey guys, if you want some input or you want to vote in that poll, then check us out on Twitter at Carpool Critics. And also, can you please just tweet some mean stuff at us? All we ever hear from you guys is like, hey, I love the show. Here's my favorite movie. Can you please cover it? But I want to know how we can get better.
Just really take us down a notch.
Tell me something like, "Hey James, we hate this way that you stumble on words sometimes."
Yeah, nice.
David, we
like
hate your
right
nose
there.
breathing. Can like someone just
Mouth breathing.
give us
Thank you.
Riley, we don't like your face.
turn the camera off of that guy. Give us some feedback so we can make this better and reach even more ears.
Because we love yours.
You can email us a treatise on why you hate our podcast at
Treatise.
carpoolcriticspodcast@gmail.com.
We're on Twitter and email because we're modern men.
Email is like ancient at this point.